to say that actually he dominated that game, and I don't think it gives a true reflection. And I can't remember who it was. There was someone who actually put this on the Norwich tweet, said like, what is the benefit of Spurs fans piling in and affecting the poll, and changing the weighting of the poll so that he becomes man of the match.
Yeah.
And someone's going, I bet you're fun at parties, mate. It's only a bit of a laugh. But it isn't, because people look at that and they'll go, he won 20 man of the matches this season for Norwich. He's got to be shit hot. He's got to be mustard. And then he comes back in and like all of the fans go, well, actually, this is the future. Put him alongside Højbjerg. He's better than Winks. Like, he's better than Sissoko because he's fucking done it. He hasn't done it yet. You know what I mean? Give him a chance in the Premier League. Let Norwich take him at the Premier League for a season and let him really cut his teeth there.
You've got to realise on Twitter at the moment there has been a massive surge of 11 and 12-year-olds that are on Twitter. They've all got their footballer Avi things or whatever you want. Well, footballer Avies, aren't they? That's what it's called. But there's some right dickhead things being jumped on about at the moment, and the fact that Skip is voted man of the match every fucking week. Everyone's calling each other bruv. And this NGL, not gonna lie, all this bollocks. It's 90% at the moment. It's fucking kids on fucking Twitter that should be at school, and their parents should take the fucking iPhones from them in the evenings because Twitter has become an absolute cesspit. Now that Andy's gone off Twitter, things have got a lot easier. Sorry, Andy. But do you know what I mean? We're all reading accounts, and whilst we're all sat here as mature men, me being the youngest.
Well, speak for yourself.
Yeah. But you know what I mean. You look at stuff that's coming out on Twitter, and people take it as granted. People take it as a genuine fucking opinion where you don't know whether you've got a fucking troll sat behind the account. You don't know whether you've got a 7-year-old boy sat behind the account. You don't know whether you've got a fucking pedo behind the account. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we're all...
I'm not sure there's any need for that, really. I mean, your argument was going really well, bruv, until you mentioned the pedos. Let's leave the pedos out of that. But we'll build the argument other than that.
They need to be taken down anyway. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, bruv.
And the 12-year-old.
Yeah, no, you're right. But seriously, Andy. I mean, right. I think like Tanganga.
Oh, sorry, I forgot where we were. Yeah.
I think they've got big futures for the club, but I don't think that. Like, I think Tanganga's further along the line in terms of what he can bring to the club than Skip, and I just think that. It's not that I don't think Skip's good enough. I just worry that we get, our fans get overexcited. They get a tendency to get overexcited.
I think I'm like most fans. I do get excited about these things, but that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? No point in being miserable, is there?
Well, no, I'm not being miserable.
I think you are.
I'm not, though, because I think that my problem is that everyone's going to build him up, and then next season he'll have 2 or 3 games where he doesn't set the world alight or he struggles against a Man City midfield, a Man United midfield, or a Chelsea midfield, or a Liverpool midfield, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? Why are we playing him? He's not good enough for a side that wants to be challenging.
But that is football, though, isn't it? That's what happens.
But he's 19. He's 19. Yeah. Why are we going to destroy a player at 19? When
I'm not saying destroy him, but that's the opinion. That's the opinion
the fans will
have.
But the fans will, you know what I mean? They'll get on his back on Twitter as well. It's not just the. And if we're back in the stadium, and he struggles,
yeah,
then he's got more exposure because then all of a sudden you'll have fans shouting abuse at him. They'll forget that last season they were singing his praises and how wonderful he was. They won't give us hell. They won't care about that. They'll just care about the fact that they're in the stadium and that he's being outplayed potentially, and therefore,
yeah,
where do they direct their ire? They just direct it at him. or they'll tag him in abusive tweets and have a go at him on Twitter. That's my concern for him. I want him to have an opportunity to grow within the team and within the squad without this pressure of everyone placing on him that he's the next big thing. That's what I'm saying.
Don't you think though that it's also character building to be given loads of crap?
No,
you don't.
I don't. Okay. I don't.
Kev, I just thought I'd put it out there.
Kev, did you? I don't know if you watched the game yesterday, but what's your take on Skippy?
I didn't see it actually, Steve. But Skip's sort of a local lad to me around here, and
okay.
I know he's been at the club for many moons and as a young boy. But as Andy said, he's only 19, and let's be honest. There's very few players that come through at 19 years of age from an academy playing for the same club that jump in and play Premiership football at the highest level, represent their country and hit the ground running and then have a 12, 13 year career.
You're talking about Kane now, aren't you?
Yeah, the top of the. I am to an extent because it doesn't often happen.
Yeah.
When you've got a real young boy who just goes straight in there. He doesn't have to go out on loan. And you look at Spurs have played the loan system with so many players over the last number of years. And they do it for a reason. They're like them to get experience elsewhere, maybe at a lower level, But as far as Skip's concerned, I just think he's a nice, tidy, uncomplicated footballer who can fit into a holding role, which tends to be more for a more mature player, shall we say, and for a young lad, I've hopes for him. I think he's got a chance.
Yeah.
Do you not think though that how you just described him? Do you not think that a tidy player, like it keeps it all that? Do you not think that that's what we were saying about Winks like a couple of years ago as well? And that's where my sort of my basis.
There's a difference, though. There's a difference.
Which
it's the physicality. Winks doesn't have the physicality.
Maybe they are slightly different there. Yeah, and he's more. Winks is more a ball retainer, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a recycler, isn't he?
Whether it's back, forward, or
back.
But I think it's not very often that any player in any position comes through at 19 years of age at the very top level. It doesn't happen too often.
You're right. Yeah.
So that kind of brings me on to the point that I wanted to raise, really, which was I think that was me. Yeah, it was me. Was Dane Scarlett signing his contract this week? He's just turned 17, signed his contract. Is thought of incredibly highly by Mourinho. Seems to have a lot about him, a lot of self-confidence, a lot of ability. And when you've said, like Kev, about you don't see many players of sort of 19 coming through, making an impression and going all the way and having straight into the first team and having a 12, 13 year career or whatever. Could he be that next player? Even before 19. Next season. We talk about Skip, but could Scarlett be the one that actually is going to come into the squad and make a massive impression? Because he seems to have all the hallmarks and someone that's going to do that, and someone that the club are looking to keep close rather than actually send out on loan.
Yeah, there's a possibility, that maybe he's the one. As you say, Mourinho rates him very highly. Barely 17. He appears to have the attributes of a good striker, but You often gauge it by professional clubs with sort of how long they give a contract to a young player. And, I think Scarlett, they've just signed him on his first pro contract and given him, was it 2 years?
Yeah.
And they think they sort of spoon fed these players because a lot can happen, from 17 to 19, from 19 to 21, it can go up or it can go down. So it's still early days, and you just can't get carried away. I mean, otherwise you'd have got rid of our Harry Kane at 21, wouldn't you? He wasn't scoring goals on loan, was he?
Exactly.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're sort of testing years, aren't they? Between sort of the age of 16, 17 up to sort of 19, 20, because obviously, you've got forbidden fruits that are sort of dangled before you. You suddenly hit 18 and, you can go in pubs, you can go in clubs, and, there's all sorts of things that can go wrong in the meantime in that. But, look at Troy Parrott, for example. I mean, he was anticipated to be, the next Robbie Keane. He's gone from sort of, playing for Millwall on loan, going down to League One at Ipswich. So there's you've got players with raw talent, but it's the mental. I think what we're seeing is with football at the moment, that's being made more apparent. It's mentality, it's mental character, it's mental, and it's like how much do they want to do it up there. Do they want to be going out getting wankered with their mates every other week and doing fuck knows what? But there's a lot of mentality issues out there for a lot of players at the moment, I think, and probably COVID's not helping at the moment with a lot of players.
I think
young players.
And I think the club have been praised actually for tying down Scarlett, because there's been a few players that have been promising. That have been that have been on the cusp or coming through the youth system, and a lot of the people that kind of keep an eye on the youth setup and the players within the youth setup have said, well, this one looks really, really good. This one looks like it's going to have a future. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, they've been snapped up and signed to go and play abroad and go and play, in Canada or wherever. And you think, well, hold on. Like, how's that happened? And these people, I don't profess to be someone that follows the youth teams very closely, but I do sort of keep an eye on some of the accounts, and they're like, well, how is that player who could be on the cusp of, getting into like the Spurs first team, how is he going to play, for example, for Canada when he knows, or in the Canadian league, when he knows he's going to get a starting place? And I guess that's the difference. They just want to now be. They think they've got to that point that they want to be playing week in, week out, even if it's probably at a lower level, maybe to establish themselves and then to come back on this, at a certain point. So I think it was good for the club to tie him down, and I'd like to see him involved, a lot more in the future. Okay, so. Next thing, you've got a point, Andy, about Defoe's comments. Was that? So do we need to talk about Kane first, and then we can talk about Defoe's comments, or how do you want to play?
Yeah, I think we have to talk about the Kane comments first, because I think Defoe's comments were after.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, even before. Kane was sort of hijacked in an interview, I think, to try and to give the media the sound bite that they could sort of sink their claws into. They'd been banging on about him needing to leave and Son needing to leave, especially after the exit in the Europa League and like other results that had started to go not go our way, and our season seeming to effectively fall away.
Yeah.
And so it seems to be a massive media build up, as has been really highlighted, I think, this weekend, where Keane, I think, was on was brought into ITV, I think. Was he brought into ITV and to talk about the England game? And they're still talking about in an England game about